It's 7 a.m. You wake up, and the very first thing you notice is your mouth bone dry, tongue stuck to the roof, throat scratchy. You reach for the water glass before you've even sat up straight. You slept a full 7-8 hours, and somehow you feel like you barely rested at all. Heavy, foggy, like the whole night just didn't count. Maybe your partner mentions it. You were snoring again. Or you keep waking in the middle of the night, throat parched, never quite sure why. You blame the dry air, the pillow, your allergies. But the real story is something you did all night long, without the faintest idea you were doing it. It's how you were breathing. Specifically, whether the air went in through your nose or through your mouth. Because those two paths are not interchangeable. One is a precision system refined over millions of years. The other is basically an emergency backup door. In fact, we're built to breathe through the nose by default. Human babies almost entirely nose breathe. The mouth was never meant to be the main way in. And running the backup door all night, every night, quietly costs you more than you'd guess. Your sleep, your teeth, even the way your body takes in oxygen. But before any fixes, and there's one popular fix I'm going to tell you flat out to be careful with. Let me show you what your nose actually does that your mouth simply cannot. Most people picture the nose as just a pair of holes for air. It's dramatically more than that. One of the most underrated organs in your entire body. Every breath you take through your nose gets 3 separate jobs done before the air ever reaches your lungs. Job 1. Filtration. Tiny hairs and a lining of mucus catch dust, pollen, bacteria, and other junk, trapping it all before it gets anywhere near your lungs. Your nose is a living air filter, running quietly every second of every day, and you never even think about it. Job 2. Warming. The air is heated close to body temperature as it moves through, so your lungs never take a cold shock. Job 3. Humidifying. Your nose adds moisture, so the air arrives soft and damp, instead of dry and harsh. Exactly what your lungs are built to handle. Your mouth does none of these. Air through the mouth arrives unfiltered, cold, and dry straight down the hatch with zero preparation. But the single most interesting thing your nose does has nothing to do with filtering. It's a gas. Tucked into the sinuses around your nose is a tiny factory that constantly produces a molecule called nitric oxide. When you breathe in through your nose, you carry that nitric oxide down into your lungs. Breathe through your mouth, and you skip it entirely. And nitric oxide matters. It relaxes and widens your blood vessels, which actually improves how much oxygen your blood pulls out of each breath. It's also antimicrobial. It helps neutralize airborne bacteria and viruses right there in your airway before they can take hold. So a nasal breath is filtered, warmed, humidified, dosed with nitric oxide, and better oxygenated. A mouth breath is none of that. Same air, completely different delivery. Now run that difference across an entire night of sleep. 7-8 hours of breathing, one way or the other, while you're completely unaware. Start with the obvious one, the dry mouth. Breathe through your mouth all night, and it dries out completely. And saliva isn't just spit. It constantly washes your teeth. neutralizes acid, and keeps bacteria in check. Dry that out for hours every night, and you lose that protection, which is why chronic mouth breathing is linked to more cavities, gum problems, and morning bad breath. Next, your airway. When your mouth falls open in sleep, the jaw drops back, and the airway gets narrower and easier to collapse. A narrower airway with air rushing through it is exactly what makes soft tissue vibrate, and that vibration is snoring. So mouth breathing doesn't just happen to come with snoring. It actively sets the stage for it. And here's the part that explains the exhaustion. Mouth breathing tends to make your sleep lighter and more broken up. You may never fully wake up, but your body keeps getting nudged out of the deep, restorative stages it needs. 8 hours in bed, maybe 5 hours of real rest. Add it all up: dry mouth, snoring, lighter sleep, less efficient oxygen, no nitric oxide, and you get exactly that "I slept, but I'm wrecked" feeling. So by now you might be thinking, easy, I'll just force my mouth shut at night. And you've probably seen the viral trend that promises exactly that: taping your mouth closed while you sleep. I'm going to be very straight with you, because this is where a lot of health channels get reckless. Please do not just start taping your mouth shut. Here's why. Mouth breathing at night is usually not the root problem. It's a symptom, a sign of something else, stopping you from breathing through your nose in the first place. Maybe it's allergies or a stuffy nose. Maybe a deviated septum. Maybe enlarged tissues. Or maybe something more serious: obstructive sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is when your airway actually collapses and you stop breathing. Over and over, all night long. And mouth breathing and snoring are two of its most common signs. Here's the number that should stop you cold. Researchers estimate more than 20 million Americans have sleep apnea and don't know it. Undiagnosed. Millions of people walking around with it. If you're one of them and you tape your mouth shut, you may be sealing off the emergency exit your body is using just to get air. A. Arlene Arwu review of this exact trend found little real benefit and a genuine risk of dangerous oxygen drops for precisely these people. So taping isn't a clever hack. For the wrong person, it's removing the backup while the main system is still broken. That's the opposite of safe. The honest version is this: if you breathe through your mouth every night, the useful question isn't, how do I force it shut? It's, why is my nose not doing its job? So here's the actually responsible path. The real fix, in order. First, and this is the most important line in the whole video, if you snore loudly, gasp, or choke in your sleep, or feel exhausted no matter how long you're in bed, get evaluated for sleep apnea. See a doctor. This is genuinely not a do-it-yourself situation, and no amount of tape or breathing tricks replaces an actual diagnosis. That one step can catch something genuinely serious. Apnea is linked to heart disease and high blood pressure, and it's very treatable once it's finally found. Second, if it's just plain congestion, allergies, a cold, dryness, go after that cause. Treating allergies, a saline rinse, or a bedroom humidifier can reopen the nose naturally. Nasal strips, the little bands that gently pull your nostrils open, are a low-risk way to make nose breathing easier at night. That's very different from taping the mouth shut. Sleeping on your side instead of flat on your back also helps keep the airway open and cuts down both snoring and mouth breathing. And here's the free daily practice that retrains the whole thing. During the day, catch yourself and breathe through your nose on purpose. On walks, at your desk, whenever you notice. The more your nose becomes your default while you're awake, the more likely it stays your default while you sleep. You're rebuilding a habit your body already prefers. A couple of honest notes. For most healthy adults, occasional mouth breathing is not a catastrophe. Doctors are clear on that. This isn't about panic. And nothing here is medical advice. The one firm rule: mouth breathing plus loud snoring or daytime exhaustion is worth a real conversation with a doctor, not a roll of tape. So go back to that dry-mouthed, foggy morning we started with. The goal was never a gimmick or a strip of tape across your face. It's simpler than that. Let your nose do the job it was quietly built to do. Filter, warm, humidify, and hand your blood that dose of nitric oxide all night long. And if it can't do that job, the answer isn't to force the door shut. It's to find out what's blocking it, because that answer might matter far more than one rough night's sleep. Breathe through your nose in the day. Open it up honestly at night. And if the snoring or the exhaustion won't quit, let a doctor look. That's the whole thing, and now you know why it matters.